What is up, fellow thermonuclear AFers? I am Dan Favale coming at you with a conversation, a soapbox sermon, if you will, on LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. Because what else are we going to talk about? This team just gives us fodder by the day. Before we get started, please remember to continue rating and reviewing and subscribing wherever you consume us. If you're on YouTube, hit the sub button, like, comment, help the algorithm love us back. We have a lot of fun around here. Join our Discord. Follow us on the socials. All those links are in our podcast and YouTube descriptions. And subscribe to the actual podcast from a podcast player and download every episode. Cross subscribing will help us a ton. So get on your phone, use Apple and Spotify, Google, Stitcher, whatever you use, the whole nine to subscribe and download every episode. And then continue to follow along on YouTube. We do post exclusives on TikTok, IG, YouTube as well from time to time. But I think with that, it's time to talk about LeBron James and Instagram captions, because I'm an adult. We're all adults around here, and this is what we need to talk about. Not 24 hours after the Los Angeles Lakers dropped to 0-4 in the season, LeBron posted a kind of cryptic, but not totally Instagram caption Thursday that has reading between the lines sleuths buzzing. How long will you be taken for granted? Keep going, kid, is what it said. Perhaps this caption is a code for absolutely nothing. Maybe it's an innocuous nod to the picture of a 37-year-old soaring through the air, defying age and gravity, and, by extension, science. This post might be LeBron's way of saying, nobody appreciates what I'm doing at my age, at this level, nearly enough. And he'd be right. His longevity is acknowledged and cherished, but there is no fully comprehending or treasuring his lastingness. Counterpoint, though. Yeah, no, that's not what this caption is doing. It can't be. The timing is too incidental to be coincidental. He's sending a message. He has to be. The 2022-2023 Lakers are spiraling, and LeBron, it seems, is fed up. And on the surface, he has every right to be. Next season isn't a given for him. He turns 38 on December 30th, giving him precious little time to play meaningful basketball, no matter how much of a generational anomaly his aging curve remains. But the Lakers are nowhere near playing meaningful basketball, let alone actually sniffing title contention. Sure, 4 games doesn't have to be profoundly telltale, but Los Angeles' winless start is merely the sum of all its long-standing flaws actualized. Russell Westbrook remains a putrid fit on offense. Trading for him, while also bankrupting their wing depth during the 2021 offseason, was an obviously bad decision then, and it looks even worse now. To what extent Russ deserves blame here, though, is questionable. He has not reinvented himself on offense as a high-volume ball screener or reliable spot-up threat. That's not a surprise. He didn't undergo functional facelifts in Oklahoma City or Houston or Washington. Expecting him to dramatically change in Los Angeles nearly 15 years into his career is an irrational hope. It's a minor miracle he's played so hard on defense this season, if we're being honest. None of this means he's above critique. Before suffering that hamstring injury, he was shooting 8.3% from deep and 35.8% on twos. Both marks would be career lows and are absolutely positively disgusting. Between his gargantuan $47.1 million salary, critically bad offensive play, and just his overall poor fit, Westbrook has received a lion's share of the blame, as if his very presence is the lone barrier separating the Lakers from contention, or, at the bare minimum, simply not sucking. It's not. The Lakers as a team are shooting a league worst 22.7% from three and ranked dead last in points scored per possession overall. That's not all Russ. Everyone shares in the bricklaying. Anthony Davis has verged on dominant for stretches, but followed up last year's sub 19% clip from three with another sub 19% clip from three so far. Kendrick Nunn is a career 36.1% shooter from deep, and is currently nailing just 23.5% of his trays, while also having notched more fouls, 7, and turnovers, 9, than assists, 6. Patrick Beverley is a career 37.6% three-point sniper, yet presently joins AD in the sub-19% club. LeBron himself is banging in just 25.7% of his triples, which would be a career low. Lonnie Walker IV, meanwhile, is second on the Lakers in three-point attempts, which he's burying at a 17.4% clip. Merely removing Westbrook from the equation solves very little. He wasn't on the floor when the Lakers lost to the Nuggets, and their lineups on the season, in which LeBron and AD play without Russ, remain offensive clunkfests and in the net negatives. Anyone bellowing obscenities at Russ from the stands or behind the protection of an avatarless social media account is, one, overdue for some serious soul searching, and 2, misplacing most of the blame. The Lakers are not built by Westbrook or in the image of Westbrook. They were assembled by general manager Rob Pelinka and the rest of the front office. A majority of the outrage must be directed there across so many different fronts. Pelinka and company's cardinal sin remains the same. They watched the Lakers win a title in 2020 by surrounding LeBron and AD with complementary shooting and defenders, and then decided not a full year later to dismantle that nucleus in favor of what Westbrook might possibly, potentially, if they're lucky, be able to sort of do when one of the 2 greatest basketball players of all time wasn't on the floor. That is watertight logic. So is letting Alex Caruso, one of their most important defenders, walk in free agency on a contract that was neither egregious nor outside the Lakers' price range. With one of the GOAT candidates on their roster still playing like a superstar, the Lakers acted like a small market franchise. Equally inexcusable, doing so little in the aftermath of last year's implosion. Yes, the Lakers turned over their supporting cast, but only because most of that supporting cast is now out of the NBA. There's nothing noble about steering into decisions made for you or for stockpiling largely ball-dominant guards. Almost everyone's favorite pastime is now leaking Westbrook trades the Lakers could have made but didn't. That is damning. It suggests a complete lack of urgency in the face of an extremely urgent situation, that being LeBron's timeline. He should absolutely be pushing them to make a move, any move, just for the sake of increasing the meaning behind their largely purposeless basketball. Yes, the cost of doing so is prohibitive. Trading 2027 and 2029 first rounders that likely post-date the LeBron era is dangerous. It's one thing if those 2 picks ended up bagging them Kyrie Irving or another star. It's entirely different to punt on such a massive portion of your future in exchange for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, or for Josh Richardson and Jakob Poeltl, or for Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward. And the Lakers' current dilemma doesn't help matters. They are so deeply broken beyond the Westbrook fit, they might be irreparable. Why mortgage crucial assets just to not contend and potentially eat into this summer's cap space? The answer? Because you have LeBron fucking James. Patience isn't a virtue. Not in this case. The Lakers waiting for the trade market to expand doesn't ensure they'll have access to superior deals. Better options will incite more competition. And their best package, while steep for them, can be easily outstripped by teams capable of conveying a first-round pick sooner than 5 drafts from now. Urgency is at once obligatory and essential. The Lakers haven't shown it. They've done everything but. They've made head coach Frank Vogel the scapegoat. They hired head coach Darvin Ham, at least in part, because he sold them on making it work with Russ, yet again implying that Russ is the lone obstacle they must overcome. Amid all these missteps over the past year and change, the Lakers extended Pelinka for some reason, even though he's the architect of perhaps the NBA's most disjointed roster. That's worth another few dozen or so kind of cryptic but not totally Instagram captions from LeBron. What's left of his window is being squandered, and Pelinka, along with all the other folks upstairs, including Jeannie Buss, should be thoroughly blamed for being so slow or unwilling to appropriately act. And yet, while the Lakers are no question taking LeBron for granted, he is not beyond culpability. He reportedly pushed for the team to acquire Westbrook in the first place. It is Pelinka's job to override that input from his star, from his superstar, whenever necessary. But we can't pretend like LeBron has been a voiceless bystander. What's more, unless the Lakers promised to jettison Westbrook before the start of this season and then reneged at the last second, LeBron still signed a 2-year extension knowing this was the roster on which he'd be playing. That is eyes wide open behavior, and it must factor into the blame game currently being played. Still, even with all this in mind, the mess that is this season and this team falls at the feet of Pelinka in the front office. It doesn't matter if LeBron wanted Russ, and it doesn't matter if the Lakers are so far gone. It actually doesn't make sense to ship out their draft picks. It doesn't matter. Trade the picks anyway. Get better now. Figure out how to reload the war chest later. AD and LeBron trades will be on the table in the coming years if your direction goes belly up once again. Pelinka and company pivoted away from a proven blueprint into aimless territory more than a year ago, and they've yet to even sort of pull themselves out from the resulting freefall. That is franchise malpractice. And so LeBron will soon turn 38, somehow still performing at a level high enough to contend for titles on a team run by a front office that, frankly, doesn't seem to give a shit. Let me know what you think in the comments, in the mentions, depending on where you're consuming this. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and the podcast players. Appreciate every single one of you. Until next time, I leave you to shout out to the one, the only, the person who could actually solve and fix everything wrong with the Lakers, Frank Ntilikina.